Welcome to my talk on actionable insights on AI for email. How to add to your tech stack and enhance your workflow from concept to code. Hi, I'm Jay. I'm Head of Code and Solutions at ActionRocket. We're a CRM digital agency. We work with a range of brands from Pizza Express, BBC, other large companies like Amex, things like that. And we do everything from end to end, from strategy, copy, design, and code. And basically, we make cool shit in email. We work best where business needs, human values, and the cutting edge of tech meet. That includes using AI. The examples on the right-hand side there are actually coded HTML and CSS interactive emails that work inside certain email clients. This is something that we do a lot of, and at the moment, we don't use AI a lot to create the code, but in our workflow, we do use AI. So, the first thing I want to do before talking about any solutions that you might be thinking about for AI is go through the framework that we use at ActionRocket to discover different AIs and also to figure out what we need an AI for. So luckily this goes into a nice acronym of PATI, not an official sponsor yet from The Simpsons, but basically the first thing you're trying to do is think about the problem, then is there an AI solution and how does it work, test or trialing it, the time you need to give yourself, and then your feelings at the end. So the first part is your problem. You really do need a problem to solve. So there's no point in seeing the latest, greatest AI solution out there that does this or that, when really you don't have that problem, and you don't really want to just strong arm this into your workflow. What you want to do is start off with a defined problem that you know that you have. So this could be in any department, in any part of your work, and this could be something like a strategy problem. So say you've got a lot of data and you're trying to figure out how to use it. Maybe it's a design problem where you can't get the assets that you need specifically for your designs. Or it could be a code problem. You've just inherited a code base and you don't know what it does. So you really need to figure out what that problem is. And then the way that we test it is really going to someone else on your team and describing your problem. And if you're both feeling the same problem or the same workflow constraint, then that's a really good option to then look at what AI can do for you. So rather than me just deciding that I can't work on a piece of code or I can't create new images, I go and talk to a coworker and they say, oh, I can do that, no problem. What are you talking about? Maybe it's just a shortfall of what you can do, but maybe it is a whole workflow problem that you need to figure out. In that case, it's a good idea to then think about what AI solutions could be. So those AI solutions could be anything. And there's constantly new AI solutions coming out. We're obviously at the Salesforce World Tour. They've got Agentforce, agentic code. There's been Salesforce AI for quite a long time. So what is the right solution for you? There's going to be loads out there, and you should really spend this time thinking about it and going through them. And one thing I would really urge you to do is find one that is CRM or email specific, or something specifically tailored to your business. Because there's so many AIs out there now that one of them will fit your use case. There's just a few on the screen there, but basically, if you have a problem, you can search for it. There's also a number of newsletters, websites, posts all about AI that you can sign up to hear about the latest things. So I would encourage you to constantly keep up to date with what's coming out, but what you need to do at this point in time is find one that fits your problem specifically and then go with that. The next part of the framework is testing and trialing it. Now, this is going to be completely different depending on where in your workflow it fits. But you want to set up a suitable trial and try something in-house. So you really want to try and do something that is within your team. Pick maybe a couple of people, or if you're a one person, use yourself. And then does it fit into your current workflow? So does it have an integration to Salesforce? Does it integrate with your code editor? Do you already have a Google account? Can you use Gemini already? All of those things are worth thinking about. So if it fits into your current workflow and it's a tool that you could possibly use, then maybe it's a really good place to start. And then when you are testing it, make sure that it's measurable. So you can use the old SMART acronym: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time bound, whatever it is you come up with. Just give yourself something that you can actually measure against. If it is designing an email, is it quicker to design an email with the AI? If it's coding an email, does it give you 90% of the code does the code really make you that much quicker, or can you just use your predefined content blocks that you already have in Salesforce? Will it make you quicker using this AI? And this is an important thing to write down and really think about before you then go on to trialing it for any period of time. And talking of time, you need to set a trial period and stick to it. So one of our problems at Action Rocket was originally it was kind of the wild west of AI, and everyone could try anything, and there was no guardrails in there, and there was no time limit. So something like ChatGPT, anyone was kind of using it. They were logging on. No one was really checking on it. No one was thinking about if it works or not. So basically, it was just something that you need to look into. And we think that picking a trial period and sticking to it is the best way to do it. And then the really important part is during this time, you need to use the tool as if you are fully committed to using it. So that means that if you want to use this tool to build your emails, so I code a lot, so a lot of these examples might be skewed towards coding. But if you want to use this tool to build your emails, then use this tool to build every email. So over that trial period, use it to build your everyday emails, your business as usual emails, the one-off emails, those emails that come in from your boss that need to be done really super quick, those emails you've been working on for a long time. Just fully commit to using the tool, because that way you can really test and see if it will fit with every use case. And it doesn't matter if it doesn't fit with every use case, but if you don't trial it at this point, if you are going to expand your team or work with more people, there's a chance that they may come on and you need to use the tool to do everything. And if the tool can't do it, then you need to know what those limitations are. And finally, your feelings. So after all of that time trialing it, using it, discovering it, will the tool be the tool that solves your problem? There is an argument that if you find a tool and it doesn't solve your problem, then you don't have to continue using it. Most tools out there will let you trial it for a month or 2 months for free or for very little money. So why not trial it and see if it does solve your problem? And if it doesn't solve your problem, then you can get rid of it. And you can keep looking for more. There's no reason to stop, but you really need to think about it. And also at this point is a good time to reflect and think, are there any question marks around it? Are there things that you're worried about? Are there things that maybe it's not doing that you would like it to do? And the final one is, do you trust it? So recently, HubSpot shared an integration with OpenAI and ChatGPT, and one of the things in the background was people weren't sure if they trusted where the data was going. If you are asking questions to ChatGPT about your HubSpot, and you are asking questions with personal information or personal identifying data, and where was that information going? Was that going into ChatGPT, and could it be used for training models? Was it all confined to HubSpot and ChatGPT? It wasn't really set out, and these are kind of things that you need to really think about. So here are some problems and some AI solutions that we came up with at Action Rocket that we use at the moment, and also some of them we're still trialing. The first one is kind of for strategy. So if you are starting at you're a new starter at a brand, or you're a consultancy or an agency, then maybe it's a really big task for you to kind of sit down and read every single brand document. You've got your brand design guidelines, you've got a strategy document, you've got your overall business documents, things like that. There's loads of documents hanging around. And maybe you're just starting out as a designer or even a coder, and you need to look at all of these documents to try and get somewhere. It's a really hard thing to do with lots of different documents. And if you're working with some companies and clients that maybe don't have great documentation that's up to date, they have scattered documentation, this is a problem that quite a few of us come across. So like I said, lots of different documents in different formats. There's no summary overall. It's really difficult to search for answers across all that content. You don't really want to be bugging co-workers all the time to find the answers. So getting all of those documents is kind of a good first step, but then how do you use those documents to really help you do what you're doing? One tool that we've really leaned on is we have a Google account, and as part of our Google account, we have Notebook LM. And Notebook LM is really great at gaining understandings about your documents. And what you can do is upload loads of documents. So you can upload those presentations from the last quarter, you can upload your brand guidelines, you can upload documents that scratch out an email strategy that your predecessor did, or that you've thought about in a brainstorm, anything like that. You can put it all together, and then you can create that new notebook. And then inside that, you can search for answers. So there's a search box. You can say, what was the best performing email in the last quarter? And you can find that. You can find your brand guidelines to see what colors you're allowed to use. Anything like that you can interact with search. But you can also ask questions in a chatbot kind of user interface. So you can talk to your data, which is a really interesting way of interacting with your data, but really useful as well. It can also summarize multiple documents. So say you've got brand guidelines or quarterly reports from the last kind of 2 or 3 years. It'll take you hours to go through them and really summarize what's going on. So this Notebook LM will really summarize all of that really quickly and give you just a summary. And it could even give you action points on what actions you need to take next time. And lastly, there's a couple of other cool features, like you can play it back as if it was a podcast and listen to it and have a conversation with it. And all these kind of things really just help. The next problem was with our copy team. So they're all great copywriters, and none of the AI that's out there can replace what a copywriter does. However, there are some instances where having just someone you can chat to, something you can brainstorm with, is really helpful. And in today's world, where maybe we're not sitting right next to each other, maybe we haven't got time to sit down and create a meeting, just have a brainstorm or something like that, then using a AI to really help you with that is really cool. And also, like I wrote there, we work with Pizza Express. There's only so many ways you can say buy the pizza from Pizza Express. So just getting out of the box ideas that come from nowhere is a really good way of using AI. So maybe you have writer's block. Maybe you want to brainstorm ideas. Maybe the content that you've written is great, but you've written it for a blog for your website, and now you need to shorten it to use it in an email. Maybe you need to summarize it for use on social media. Maybe you need a quick one-liner that summarizes everything that you've just put together. You could spend a lot of time creating this, or you could just talk to AI and get a little bit of feedback and try and work out how it will work. The AI solution that I would suggest is any of the current chatbots that are out there. There's Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini, loads of them out there. So just find one. You've probably already got access to one at your work, either through Google or Microsoft or any of the other kind of built-in tools. So you can chat to anything that you want to kind of just get feedback. You can set up, a lot of these tools have ways that you can set up projects, you can set up guidelines, you can give examples of pass copy, tone of voice guidelines, things like that, and then that can feed back to you. So it's not just wild shots in the dark. It's not going to give you stuff that you can't use. It should fit to guardrails. Also, like I mentioned before, you could upload what you've already been working on, and it can review, summarize it, shorten it. And we worried a little bit about our data going places, especially for our clients. So we always use the paid-for versions of those chatbots rather than using the free version. So you can sign up monthly, like I said before. Quite a lot have free trials. Some of them are built into your workspaces, like the Google Workspace has Gemini built in. The other option is there's a really cheap alternative called T3.chat, and this is a chat that brings in all of the different models, so Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini, and you can choose which one you want to go to, and it's a flat fee per month, which is actually cheaper than being on any one of the other ones. So that's another option for you to use. Next is design, and I didn't want to really focus on design as in creating new designs, because I think designers are great at that, and there isn't really an AI tool out there that at the moment can take your design and recreate more designs from it. So the best way to use design AI really is to augment what you're doing already. Maybe you've been given an asset but it's not a high enough resolution for you to use in your email. Maybe it's just not big enough. Maybe you've got a full width image in your email template that's 600 pixels wide, and you've only been supplied an image that's 500 pixels wide. There's a couple of tools out there that will help you extend the background of an image. So you've got your product shot in the middle, but you really want to extend the background outside of what the photograph you've been given or it's been cropped at. Maybe the aspect ratio of your image doesn't work in the template that you've got. Maybe you need a 1:1 ratio, like a square image. Maybe it's 16:9 rectangle. Maybe you've been given one but you need to create the other. All of these AI tools will help you create those. There's two tools really that I wanted to highlight, and the first one is Image Larger, and that one just takes your image and increases it by 200% or 400%. So you can take any of your images and double them or quadruple the size of them. This is really important for email development specifically because we have to set the width of an image for Outlook and other email clients, and that generally is just that one size. So if it's 600 pixels wide, you're going to choose 600 as your width in Outlook. But the image itself, we need it to be really high resolution, so we often use 2 times the size. So our images are, instead of 600 pixels wide, they're 1200 pixels wide. So maybe you've been given an asset that isn't double the size, but you want to make sure you've got that higher resolution so it shows up on those high resolution Mac monitors or iPhones or something like that. So you can use this tool very quickly, upload your image, double it, done. The second thing is, as I mentioned before about aspect ratio or increasing the canvas size of your image, you can use something called generative fill. And Adobe Photoshop, Canva, and many other design tools now have that built in. So you can literally expand your image with an empty canvas and then ask it to fill it in just generatively based on what's there. So if you take the example on the slide, there's obviously a forest background in that image. If you wanted to extend that so that it was 1 by 1 square, you could ask Adobe Photoshop to expand it and it would create that square image for you. And then from that, you can create all those different aspect ratios that you need for different content. And lastly, looking at code. So code is the one where I obviously work the most, and it's the one where AI has been a really good tool and loads of things have come out from AI. But maybe you're tasked with editing an old piece of email code, or you've got a Figma file that looks amazing, but you need to create HTML from it. Well, luckily there's a couple of tools that will really help you. So the first problem really is amending old email code. So all of us have got those old content blocks that have been there for ages. Maybe they need amending to fit with your new content. Maybe you've got a design in Figma that looks amazing, but you need to get the HTML. Or maybe you're editing existing AMP script that's in a message, and obviously AMP script is quite difficult to kind of wrangle to figure out what's going on. So these tools will really help you. The first one is GitHub Copilot, and GitHub Copilot can be built into VS Code. You can talk to it on github.com. You can use it in code spaces. There's lots of ways you can integrate it into your workflow. And basically, it will take your code, look at it, figure out what's going on, and then give you ideas or help you complete lines. So say you've got a module where you need to add a new full width image across it. You can just ask, I need to add something above this table row, or maybe this TD is not going full width and I don't know why. And GitHub Copilot will have an answer that you can then put in quickly and then test. But if we're not looking at email specific code or AMP script and we're just looking at a design, say in Figma, and we want to change that Figma design to an email, what tools are out there? There's lots of HTML email builders out there, and there's constantly new ones coming out all the time. So we are constantly testing the new ones. But one of the ones we tried recently is the Email Love HTML email builder. And this one takes your your design in Figma, and it uses MJML, which is a framework, to create those email designs. And because MJML is a well-established framework that has accessibility, dark mode, email client stuff all built in, you know the code that comes out of it is good. There are some constraints to this, so super fancy designs, lots of overlapping elements, interactiveness, all of that can't be created in Figma to these plugins. However, taking the normal designs that aren't too crazy will get you 90% of the way with the code. And then if you combine that with Copilot, then you've created your HTML code without learning completely from scratch. And then by doing this as a process, you'll learn how to code, you'll learn different elements, and then you'll be able to do this without these AIs helping you. But they're always there if you do need them in your back pocket. So that was a brief run through of 4 different AI solutions, or 4+ AI solutions for lots of different problems that you might be coming across in your email workflow, and also a framework to kind of help you with that. Any questions? I'm free. I'll be hanging around for a little while afterwards, but also online you can find me on Email Geek Slack, or you can email me j@actionrocket.co, or on Twitter I'm at emailj_. Anytime you want to talk email, always open. Lastly, there's a link to our slides on that QR code, but then on the other side we send a newsletter which tries out new code stuff and talks about AI in email all the time. So if either of those will help you, then there you are, left them on the screen. Thank you very much.